Hey y'all, I am Peppermint. My pronouns are she, her, hers, and welcome to Pepp Talks, the interactive weekly interview show where we discuss all of the hot topics, notable Black cinema, and some of my favorites. Just my favorites. Um, each week, I invite you to throw on your PJs, your mud mask, get comfy at home or wherever you may be, and relax with me and my celebrity guests as we dish our takes on the movies, drama, music, makeup, whatever we want to talk about. And most of all, connecting with each and every one of you. I'll be in the comments throughout the show, checking on what you have to say. So if you see me looking down like such, don't worry. I'm just trying to figure out what y'all are talking about. And that's what I'm doing. Anyway, so today's movies and guests today's movie is How Stella Got Her Groove Back, classic book turn hit from the 90s. And my fabulous two guests are Manila Luzon and my girlfriend, Mila Jam. But before we get into that, I want to make sure that everybody goes to my link in bio on my Instagram or my pinned tweet on Twitter to get yourself a special edition, limited edition vinyl copy of my new album, A Girl Like Me, Letters to My Lovers. It's a labor of love, and it's available to stream everywhere now, but if you want a collector's edition, some kind of special, a perfect Christmas gift or holiday gift, then go and get you that album while supplies last. Until December 16th is when the pre-sale ends, and then it won't be available anymore. So that's that. Last week's show was amazing. First of all, if you watched last week's show, I hope y'all enjoyed it. How many of y'all, I want to know in the comments, how many of y'all watched last week's show? Put your hands up if you watched last week's show. And if you are, let's see, put a hand emoji if you watched last week's show. And if you didn't, if this is your first week, put an apple emoji so I can see who's new and who's not. All right, let's get into it. Let's welcome our fabulous guests today from RuPaul's Drag Race and All Stars. My sister, who is just so, this is the first time we've ever actually done like an interview like this together. The fabulous Manila Luzon. Hey, Manila.
Hi, everybody. Hi, Pep.
And my dear girlfriend, one of my best friends, one of my closest friends, and she is a pop sensation and activist. Please put your hands together for Mila Jam.
Come on over.
Hey, Mila.
Come on over,
And
baby.
yeah. And when I say hands together, that's probably like do clap emojis in the comments, right? Because I can't hear what anybody's saying. And so here we are in the show. I'm so happy to have you both here to talk about how Stella got her groove back. But before we do, I want to talk now. If you're watching us on Twitch or Facebook or YouTube, check the link in my description or my Twitch profile and leave a tip, please, to support the production of this show. It is free to watch, but it is not free to put on. So please donate by hitting the tip button so we can bring you the best every single week. Okay, so now we're going to jump in and talk to the gals. First off, by saying, can you state your pronouns, please, Manila?
He, she, him, or her. I go by anything. Just call me.
Mila. God, this is going to be tough. These two LML names. Manila and Mila.
My pronouns are she, her, hers, goddess. Yeah.
Ooh, I like goddess. You could add goddess to mine, too.
No, that one's taken. You can't.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Now, in full disclosure, both of these ladies, we met. We all started out through the drag scene in New York City, and that's where we were we were performing in the New York City nightlife scene, and so. Mila, you switched from doing drag to being a pop entertainer pretty early on. But this question is for both of you. I want to know if you ever had, do you now, I guess ever had is kind of like sad, but do you have, or did you ever have, I guess, any drag children?
I don't, but I do have the House of Jam, which is
Hmm.
like you could consider her. I don't
Yeah.
have any drag children though. Yeah, no, I think that my children are everyone that like tunes into what I'm doing.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah, I'm similar. I never had drag children. When I was dating Sahara Davenport, she would have drag children, and I would, kind of play the, like the stepmom role.
Hmm.
So I never, so like
Yes.
after she passed, I didn't. They were all of age, so I didn't have to like take care of them. None of the reminders. I was no longer a guardian, so I haven't had drag children. Although I have been wanting to have drag children, um, but we're in a pandemic, so it's like harder to do that now.
Yeah, it's true. I don't have any drag
Yes,
kids
true.
either. I think it's just like in
Drag kids are expensive. I hear them
they
trying to
are in the.
charge.
I don't think we were having them in the early to mid 2000s. I don't think they were. We were not having them. Drag kids.
That
I mean,
phased
it's been around
out.
for yeah, but I think it's something that it resurged. Is that resurfaced?
Resurfaced.
Like more in the past few years. I mean, obviously it's always been a thing, but there was a minute where none of the queens were like, nobody was trying to have no kids.
Well,
Um,
I think it's because it's so hard to be a drag queen. It's especially us in New York City. It's very difficult to get your own shit together, let alone help someone through it as well. But no, I mean I've never had a drag mother, so I didn't really feel like
same,
having the children in a way
Neither did
because I didn't
I.
grow up that way. So like that, I think that kind of plays into why I don't have any drag children.
same,
Because I know
same.
if you come from a drag family, you're more likely to
As kids, yeah,
be of the family way.
yeah. The family and family is important. You mentioned the pandemic. Do you? Okay, here's one. Toilet paper. Over or under on the roll? Which one?
I just had this conversation. Firmly believe that it should be over. That is the correct way to have it. I had it with a group of gay boys the other night, and it was like I applauded one of them for having an over toilet roll, which he did not even realize he did. It was just that's how it ended up. And I was like, you should
No,
know
no, you
that it
should
should be
know.
over,
You
not
mean
under.
okay, okay, Manila.
Yeah, I am a firm believer in the over. I mean, it's the only way you should do it. My husband would always just like what you're saying, Mila. My husband would just put the roll on, and then whatever way it was that's the way. But and I
No.
would always have to turn it around. The only acceptable way of you having a roll of toilet paper go under is if you have cats, because the cats like to do that. That's
Oh,
the only
Oh
acceptable way of you
wow. I
doing it
didn't think of that. I've
under.
never had a cat.
that actually makes sense and it's fair. And dogs don't do
And
that.
that's the only exception
No.
to having it be
That's
under, because under is wrong
So the
unless
next time I
terrible.
see it under at your house and you don't have a cat, I'm really going in.
Manila, I thought, look, I thought we lived online before, like just in the millennium, wherever we are. But after the pandemic, everyone has become more like plugged in, literally. And so, what is your take on like the pandemic and the public interaction on the internet? Are you ready to put your heels back on, or do you want to like still do internet drag shows?
well, first of all, I gotta say, like in the beginning, I was very, very, very opposed to it because it didn't feel right. Like you don't get the interaction. Like
Right.
you have the comments coming in, but as a performer, it's very difficult to pay attention to the comments and the camera.
And to do your work.
Yeah, and to do your work. Because it's hard to get the feedback, and there's like there's a little bit of a delay. So you might tell a
It's
joke,
like
and then
the
you might
new
have to wait a
version
few
of
seconds.
tipping. Like, don't tip me
Yes,
while I'm performing. Well, do, but don't, but do.
Mm,
exactly.
mm.
But I feel like now that we've been doing this for several months, and the fact that grandma can get on a Zoom call nowadays, like there's no excuse for us. I got my ring light from Amazon. She's all hooked up, And that's all you need, right?
Yes.
A little part of your house that isn't a complete disaster, so it looks good on camera. And then a ring light. You're good to go.
It's true. It's true. And it's going to be like, I guess there's definitely places who are going to think twice about having a flying, folks out. They're probably gonna be like, look, girl, let's just get on Zoom tonight, and do a show. There's probably a few of those, but that's okay. They can get the non-travel rate, I guess. Mila, what influences do Black cinema and Black classic art have on your performance style and performance? And Black cinema, when I say classic, I mean in your lifetime. I don't mean historic necessarily. I didn't mean to make it so serious.
No, not at all. It makes me. I have a very good point that I want to bring up about the actual film we're talking about tonight, but I'll wait till we get into it. But I think it helped develop the need in me to continue the conversation, to further the conversation of excellence and Blackness in entertainment. I mean, it is somewhat of a call that we have and we're known for, and the world of entertainment is often about Blackness and Black people, but just the positivity of it and the greatness of it. And so that's what Black cinema does for me, is just it helps me want to like have my hand in furthering the conversation and making it more prominent and more mainstream.
That's why I wanted to do the show, is because I wanted to be able to bring, like, in a pop culture kind of way, bring the conversation about Black cinema, the contributions of Black cinema to the forefront. Black cinema specifically, but what you're saying can go for not only Black movies, but
can I say something too to add to this, which is something I really think about, like being in the place that I'm in now in my life versus when I was growing up watching Black cinema. The narrative was very different. It was living in a white centric world where everything was based off of whiteness for the most part, more so than it is now. And just the idea that, like, for it to be good, it had to be a certain genre. It had to maybe be a white film, or it had to have white actors in it for it to be legit.
Certainly for it to be mainstream and legit.
For it to be mainstream and legit. And so watching Black cinema growing up as a child, it always felt niche. And it always felt like it was just, it wasn't like the legit version of it. And so almost like we should be satisfied, like, oh, there's a Black film and there's a movie with Black people, well, we should watch that because we're Black people, instead of it being like, this movie is great, it is a story about X, Y, and Z, and the Blackness of it is not really just the only focus. It's not just a Black movie. It's a movie about a relationship, a family, a certain whatever the issue is in the film. So yes,
I can appreciate that. Manila, what is the importance, I guess, like being someone of Asian descent, what is the importance? Why is watching Black cinema important? Because there's a lot of my friends. The reason why I started this show. There were so many of my friends, many of whom are white or not Black or wherever they are, and I would go and see every movie because I like see movies. I'll see pretty much any movie. Y'all know this.
We love a movie.
But I would want to go and see like a Black movie, or like, I wanted somebody to go with me to see 12 Years a Slave, and I couldn't get one of my other girlfriends to go and watch with me. And I was like, what is going on? Like, why can we go see this movie but not, like, none of the Black movies they were just never enthusiastic about it. And it is what it is. They would watch it in their own time, that's fine. But I wanted the chance to bring Black cinema, these things that created so many quotes and so many moments in my life, to everyone, because they're so good. And so what is the importance of Black cinema, and why should people engage in Black cinema and Black art, Manila?
Well, for me, I just feel like a lot of it is just, a lot of the important part is just being able to see someone that looks like you telling a story. And it makes it a little bit easier for a person of color to get into that character. You don't have to imagine yourself like as like a white person going through this journey. You can just see this person as like, oh, this person kind of looks like me. And I mean, even like me watching like RuPaul's Drag Race, like I will always kind of lean towards the Asian queen because like I can relate to her a little bit more. So it's getting to see films that show different people telling different stories is always like a plus for me. And growing up, like honestly, like I couldn't tell you. Growing up, I didn't really even know that there was like a difference between the Huxtables and the cast from Family Matters and the cast of Full House. To me, there were just like families telling stories of families. They just looked different. But yeah, I think a lot of it's just the representation for me.
That is very good, honey. Okay, so like, we're gonna about to jump into this movie, but before we do, I'm gonna check these comments, see how y'all doing. Okay, it looks like we have plenty of people who were here last week, so thank goodness for that. Thank you so much. And if you have any questions for the gals, please put them in those comments. And head over to my Patreon if you would like to see me and Manila and Mila talk about me being the first unofficial Ru girl before RuPaul's Drag Race ever existed. What Manila wished wasn't edited into RuPaul's Drag Race. Mila's biggest pet peeve and her message to Georgians for their upcoming runoff election, and Manila clapping back in her comments, dedicating whole videos to it. I want to say thank you to our new Patreon subscribers, Marcus Brown, Alicia, Creamy Poppy. I saw that notification today. Jonathan Nieves, Avery Gilliam. I hope I'm saying that right. Natasha Bay, Blair Wilson, and many, many more. Thanks so much for joining the Patreon. And we got 2 Patreon submitted questions. One from Naomi Jade. I need to know Manila's creative process for creating looks because she has so many irreverent looks. I thought it said irrelevant. So many irreverent looks and costumes that are easily recognizable as hers. I would go as far to say even colors and patterns, not just like whole looks. But that wasn't the question. So that was the. Natasha wants to know your creative process.
Well, like I am a visual artist, so for me, I like to communicate like as quickly and as efficiently as I can through just what you see. You know, I don't want to have to explain the look. So if it's going to be inspired by a pineapple, she gonna look like a pineapple. You know what I mean? And I think a lot of it comes down to my background in design and marketing. So I'm able to communicate that really well, I think. But I just like to have like to weave in some, kitsch and some, nostalgia into my looks and in my drag. So thank you.
December Artis says, Manila, if you got the opportunity to switch drag wardrobes with any other Ru queen, who would it be?
Ooh, does that mean my waist will also switch with the size?
And that is what we call shade. There wasn't even a target, but it was like general shade.
I just want to, I love, I'm a really big fan of Aquaria's looks. So, but I can't fit into none of her clothes. So I guess I can't say Aquaria because I would have to like let everything out. So maybe.
No. Let's say it was going to be in your size.
Okay.
Whatever size it.
I guess I'll go with Aquaria then. She's got fierce clothes.
Okay. What about you? Mila?
Oh, I probably would have to go with the looks. I mean, I kind of live for Shea Coulee's looks.
Yeah. I mean, come on. So did the judges and everyone.
Everyone's
living. So Shea, send me something.
Hello, come on. That's a call out to Shay. We have some exciting news here at Team Peppermint. We have added Discord to our Patreon member benefits, and that means if you join my Patreon, you'd be supporting me and the production of Pep Talks, and also you would gain access to a Patreon only chat feature. And have the ability to be a part of our virtual video chat audience, which is basically like, a viewing party all together. And we affectionately call it the candy dish. So once you join the Patreon, you can join the candy dish. So even more reasons to join the Patreon. Today's movie is How Stella Got Her Groove Back, and the synopsis. Actually, I'm going to roll I like to roll the trailer before we do the synopsis. Is that cool, Mitch? Okay, trailer starts in 3, 2, 1.
You need a husband and your son needs a father.
Had one, got rid of him. So glad I did.
Stella, when was the last time you had a decent date? Tell the truth.
Don't talk to me for the next 2 hours. I need 20 clients back to back to back.
All work and no play
Do you want to be rich?
made Stella a big success.
Or do you want to wallow in regret?
But everyone knew she needed a vacation,
You ain't been nowhere since I was a natural blonde.
except Stella.
We going to Jamaica. What? I want you to try to have some fun, Mama. Sure. I mean it.
Good morning. I would like to dance with you.
You can't be serious.
If he looks that good with his clothes on.
If I weren't in my right mind, I swear you were trying to hit on me.
Are you paying attention?
So I hear you're a cradle robber. Yeah. How could you stoop so low?
I want to know how low did you go?
You sure look happy to see your mom.
Let me show you how happy I am.
I love you, Winston. This is crazy.
Aren't you nervous about this whole thing?
Of course I am.
Would you feel better if he was 40?
20th Century Fox presents Angela Bassett,
How much sense do we make?
Taye Diggs,
You should know that anything that's good probably never makes sense.
and Whoopi Goldberg.
What's wrong with you liking this young man?
He's just a kid.
Sometimes it takes the power of friendship,
You are not fooling anybody.
the strength of family,
Come on. We want to meet him.
Guess what? Dad's here.
I ran here as fast as I could just to see how miserable you are.
and the courage to listen to your heart to find the ultimate groove. How Stella Got Her Groove Back.
And so there's the trailer. I hope now put in the comments if you already watched this movie. Let me know. Put a in honor of Manila's outfit. Put a pineapple. If you've already watched this movie, put a and they do go to Jamaica. So put a pineapple. If you watched How Stella Got Her Groove Back. And okay, so here's the synopsis. Stella Payne is a successful 40-year-old stockbroker raising her son, Quincy, who is persuaded by her best friend from college, Delilah. Stella is persuaded by her best friend from college, Delilah Abram, to take a well-deserved first-class vacation to Montego Bay, Jamaica. There she encounters a handsome young islander, Winston Shakespeare, who is 20 years her junior. He's 20 years old. His pursuit of her turns into a blossoming romance that forces Stella to take a personal inventory of her life and find a balance between her desire. This is too. We got to do shorter ones in this. Personal inventory of her life and try to find a balance between her desire for love and companionship and responsibilities as a mother and corporate executive. Okay, note to self and Rafe. These need to be like 4 sentences. The synopsis. Okay, so
here's the real synopsis. Angela Bassett is so hot that she can bag her a 20-year-old Taye Diggs.
period.
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 So if you watch the movie, let us know in the comments. Okay, so let's get right into it. I have to be honest, my confession, I had never seen How Stella Got Her Groove Back. I remember the book, and my mom and my whole family, meaning my mother and all the women in my family, were like all about Terry McMillan books in the 90s. They all read, How Stella Got Her Groove Back, obviously Waiting to Exhale, and pretty much every single one. And so I knew the story, I knew what it was about, I knew everything, but I'd never seen the movie when it first came out. It just didn't. It wasn't in my like scope. It was. It. I wasn't a 40-year-old woman at that point. So, things have changed. And so, but I do remember I think I remember the cultural impact of the book being so undeniable that even if you weren't like reading quote black books by black authors or black books, you still heard of How Stella Got Her Groove Back. It was like so popular that they're like, okay, this is so popular, we need to make
it. The phrase alone stands on its own that people
Yeah.
can equate themselves as Stella getting their groove back. I think people still use it, like, getting back out into the dating world. I'm about to get my groove back. Yeah, I gotta get my groove back. I feel the same way, Pep. I was exactly like, I was too young to understand what it was. I was too young to watch it. My mother wouldn't let me watch it. I was too young to see it when it came out. But it was one of those things where the cultural impact was so big, and it was about this like liberating moment for Black women and dating, and the sort of like the pseudo answer to like finding their Prince Charming or whatever. Like that became like the new narrative of like, the way to find your man is to like go on a vacation and snatch somebody up that's not in the world that you work in. And I am an adult woman now, I'm feeling like maybe I need to go to Jamaica or somewhere to find me. Where do I need to go?
Thoughts, Manila?
Well,
generally,
when it came out, yeah, it was one of those. It was one of those movies that like had come out when, yeah, it wasn't really like marketed towards me, but I do remember seeing it a few years later, like on DVD, because I wanted to see Taye Diggs. What?
His ass, because he's naked in the movie.
He is naked in this movie, and
he looks
is
good
just
in this movie.
So beautiful. And
yeah,
honestly, like rewatching it, I was just like, oh my God, I can't believe just how long the camera lingers on his like perfect
and
flesh.
it lingers, honey.
Woo! That's probably why the real reason why all those ladies were going to see that movie.
That's why.
I mean, it's true. It's true.
They wanted to see Taye Diggs. Yeah, it was.
Yeah, Taye Diggs was a huge star. I remember him because he was in Rent, and I remember like being like, oh, now he's a movie star too. But yeah, I don't remember seeing this in the theaters, but I think I watched it on like DVD.
Yeah.
So what are our thoughts about like just the performances in not so much the story, but the performances, the acting? Like, what is there? Are there any anything that stood out to you?
Okay, I have so many thoughts on this because watching this film after becoming an adult woman, and now like I haven't touched this film, and I probably saw it on DVD like a scene or two back in the late early 2000s or whatever. And so really reliving it and getting into it and just seeing how simple the storyline was and how simple the cinema was in this time. Like, this is 1998 when this came out, and just how they didn't really cover like a lot of detail. It was kind of like very simple. You paint the general picture with broad strokes, have some cute moments, put some lustful scenes in there, and then you have a movie. And there's a huge conflict, and then it was just it seemed like a simpler time in a sense, where the intricacy of movies and films today is like, if you don't follow along in the first 5 minutes, you don't know what is going on or what happened, and you miss all kinds of character development, and you can kind of step into this and pick up what's going on. And so I loved the simplicity of it, and I think that was also probably purposeful because, like we were talking about a little bit earlier, with Black cinema trying to find its footing amongst mainstream white cinema, we have to dumb things down. We have to make things sort of watered down and make them very digestible for mass audiences to get into. But there's one thing that I really, 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 really loved, which was these two beautifully Black people are both very Black and very beautiful. And it's not a dark-skinned man falling in love with a light-skinned Black woman, which is what we always see. It wasn't a light-skinned man falling in love with a dark-skinned, like the way that they painted that picture, we don't see that much anymore. It's like just the chocolatiness of both Kay and Angela. It's beautiful to me. And I'm like, I miss seeing that. That was just so enriching.
I think that's also going back to your point before that. I think it's a style of 90s movies, because I look back on a lot of 90s movies, not just Black cinema, where things are just so simple. And it's remarkable how simple and how non-layered this movie is. Not saying that there's not different things happening, but it's very straightforward. And it's something that I noticed with all of the movies that we've been watching, and I don't think it's just the Black movies. You go back and look at 90s movies in general, and that's kind of their style. They just jump from, it's like an outline. Okay, they're friends, they start, now they go to work, here's the problem, and then it's finished. And it's like, whoa. Not a lot of detail at all, but it's refreshing, obviously, in this moment. And the other thing that they do that the 90s movies were all about after Bodyguard was the soundtrack. It was the soundtrack was almost a whole separate experience. There's so many major artists on this soundtrack. And Mary J. Michelle DeGiocello, just like some all established artists, which built the storyline behind this, or supported the story. And I think that was a moment to kind of recognize in 90s film.
Well, also, music plays such a huge role especially in the Black community. It really does kind of like really help solidify it in a real world setting, you know what I mean? Especially because like people watching it aren't all going to be like able to necessarily relate to Stella. In fact, I'm like, girls, what does Stella need to get her groove back? She's a successful she's like running the damn business.
Where did
like
her groove go?
She didn't get fired until like later on in the movie. So like she was doing good and fine. You know what I mean? Like Whoopi's character was sick, but at that point that wasn't an issue up until like halfway through the movie. And I'm like, well, Stella doesn't really need to get her roof back, because like she's just going on vacation.
But you know what? That's so funny you bring that up, Manila, because that also paints the picture of the juxtaposition of the Black woman in America, because the Black woman in America can be everything. She can have a successful job, be stunning, gorgeous, have abs, run the world, and still not.
She had abs.
Honey, the body was sitting. The body's sitting. Miss Angela, we're gonna give you a round of applause for the body, honey, because those beach scenes and the slow reveal, I'm ready to just reenact all of that. She was serving it, and the fact that she wasn't able to find a man to honor that, or be with a man who really knew how to appreciate that, and then on the other side of that, having someone like, let's say, the boyfriend's, mother, like look down on her and come down on her and be like, how dare you? You're worthless and you're nothing. And so I think that's the dichotomy that you would face as a Black woman, having everything going for you until you made a decision and a choice that you felt connected to. And then people would judge you for that. People would be like, oh, you found a man, but he's too young. Oh, you found a man, he's too old. Oh, you found a man, he, only dates Black women. So why are you going to date him? Oh, he does. It was always like, no one's ever satisfied. Which is, sorry, this is me feeling like I'm Black woman fantasy, but that's how it is.
I mean, I can't say this movie resonated with me in a way that I did not expect it to. Let's just put it that way. It really, down to the T, described my last relationship. 40-year-old woman, 20-year-old man, San Francisco, I'm the one who's in sort of economic power in the relationship. A lot of it was we had pretty much everything except he wasn't black and we didn't get married. But there was a lot of those questions came up, like is he too young? And the I think as femme identifying people in this room, all three of us who are are well known and have some notoriety, that the whole story about, and this is different because you're already betrothed, Manila, but I do think that there is something about the strong woman that is intimidating to men.
Yeah.
And I've experienced that. I don't know, like, I don't want to get into your marriage business, Manila. I know that you and Michael have a beautiful, obviously, relationship and good partnership that is supportive of Manila, and which, by the way, Mike was just featured on. What's the name of the show?
All the Queen's Men.
All the Queen's Men, which is so great. And it was really interesting to hear and watch and see the husbands of some of the drag race queens talking amongst themselves and kind of sharing and connecting, which is really great. So I urge everyone to go out and watch that, All the Queen's Men. But was that like automatic? Did that take something did that take some working to, like, what's that dynamic is tough to maintain, I think. Can you talk on that, Manila?
Well, yeah, when Michael and I first started seeing each other, he was younger than I was. I mean, I was 30, he was 25. So like back then, that felt like a big age gap. As we gotten older and we've been together for longer, it's less of an issue. But yeah, it was part of the appeal of our relationship. It's like, oh, like there's two different ends to us, like there's like one that's mature and it's got things going on, and then there's like the younger person who's like, when we could learn from each other. And I think that was really what it really kind of like helped the relationship. So watching this movie, I definitely could relate to it because there was like an age gap, and there is something that can work in a relationship if you do come from different places, and if you are in different parts of the world. I think that there's a lot of room to get to know someone, and there's a lot of like intrigue and mystery about that person. So it really does help, especially in the beginning, kind of establish like like your interest in each other.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Oh yeah, okay. I thought
I'm sorry. Okay, hey, so I have to I have a COVID test. I have to get something stuck in my nose right now.
Okay, go ahead, and I'm going to check the comments. Manila's going to get a COVID test, and I'm going to check the comments real quick.
Hold on, Holly.
I love it.
And I'm going to get a charger.
Okay, great. I'm stuck here by myself. The perfect time to read the comments then, honey. Perfect time. Okay, so I was asking how many of y'all have seen the show, have seen the movie before or watched the movie. Okay, some of y'all. We still got to get more people watching these movies before.
Good morning, I'm back.
Welcome back. Did it work?
Hi.
Hi.
Oh, hi, Manila.
Hi, it's Manila. I'm doing fine. I have a foot fashion line.
Hi, I'm back.
You can buy my merchandise at ManilaLuzon.com. Yeah, look, I'm cross-eyed. Ah!
That's hysterical.
Hi, my love.
Hi,
She
darling.
let me out. She let me out of my corner. So, oh shit, she's back. Sorry.
Oh, she's like, get out of it. Oh, it's so good to see him.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry.
It's okay. No, you got to get your COVID test. Health first.
I have a shoot, and then I have to be tested for it. So they came to the house.
Good.
So.
Thank
All
you.
right, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, Manila doing cocaine in the back.
I know my husband came around the corner and he's like this, and I'm like, no, I don't need a bump right now. I'm good.
All right. Okay, so some people have seen the movie. We'll keep going. I want to know did this movie have any impact on, I mean, we already said that it resonated with us. So what is the personal impact on the story, like for your life? Like, how does this connect with your life? We did talk a little bit about the dynamic of the older woman who's successful. But are
I
these
know
themes
how
that
it
you would?
affected
Yeah, go
me.
ahead.
Yeah. So being an adult woman and living in New York City and dating and talking to younger guys, because there are younger guys that will approach me, and I'm open to that idea of dating younger. But it's the feeling that I felt with Stella when you allow yourself to let go and to be in the moment and to enjoy it. But then feelings do come in, and then you're in a position where something doesn't pan out the way you think it might, and having to deal with the conflict of, like, for example, when Winston, had to work and was not able to show up for her and had to, life things
At the
happen.
restaurant, you
And
mean?
you don't, yeah, with the restaurant, and you don't necessarily know how much of it is reality and the truth that that's what they have to do, or if it is a story, or if it's something that they're making up, if it's an excuse. So then that moment where she was with
Was she
him
called?
the moment when he tells her, there the phone, and then when he comes over and he tells her about, like, I have to do these things because they had plans, and she was just like, well, let's not play these games. I'm not here for all of this. Don't come, walking into my life and then turning around and just being like, well, I can't, I don't have time now. It's like the investment level is different when you're, in a different place in your life, when you're older, when you've had relationships, when you've been single for a long time. And so trying to find that space with someone where that they're going to be able to make time for you and prioritize you and choose you, and you are able to go away from them and let them go. And then the fairy tale of them coming back if you've made a grand connection. But in real life, that doesn't always happen.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
it
'cause
definitely doesn't. Go ahead, Manila.
yeah, because like she's on vacation. You know what I mean? And
Right.
he's at home and he has his, like, whatever he has to do for his job, like I feel like I've done that too, where I've, like, I'm on tour and I, like, drop into some city and then I kind of, like, call up everyone that I know that lives in that city, and I'm, like, trying to hang out with them, and they're like, oh no, sorry, Manila, I got to go to work, or oh, I have, like,
Right.
like, prior
Mhm.
engagements
Other
with my
priorities,
family, blah
yeah.
blah blah. And so I totally related to when she was like, oh, okay, so okay, we fucked and now you're done with me.
Now you're
You
done
know
with
what I
me.
mean?
That's how I
But
feel.
like you said, Mila, it is kind of like a great story of, like, that connection that they were able to make. It did last beyond that moment, and like, he
Mhm.
did come back wanting more, and she was left wanting more, and so to
Mhm.
watch the relationship kind of form with all this, like, new compromise. They're in different, it's a long distance relationship, and they have to make it work. There is an age chasm, and
Mhm.
they try to make it work. She's a divorcee and she has a child, and he doesn't, but they make it work. And I think a lot of what I take away from this is, um, you know you'll be attracted to things that are different from you, and that's why you're attracted to it, and then you have to work hard to make those compromises so that both of you guys are, like, happy.
Come on,
Mhm.
relationship lessons. Come
There,
on,
there,
lessons in
there it
love.
is.
Manila's new book.
Yeah, because,
There it
like, there was,
is.
like, a point where, like, the dinner scene where, like, they were figuring out who's going to pay, and they kind of get into that argument. Like,
Mhm.
that scene is very real,
It's very real.
right?
Very real.
The other scene that wasn't very real, but was a compromise, I feel like, is the scene where Winston takes her son and he gives him a driving test without her permission. Because I don't
Okay.
see any
No.
mother not throwing a freaking fit, like, you
Yeah.
took my son, what? They put him in his life in danger?
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
she kind of laughed it off because, like, she was just in this, she was no longer a 40-year-old woman. She was she was young and she was feeling like a child and she was feeling like she was like playing and you know she was giggling and tickling and you know
I think it's also for me. I think also for me, what it is too, though, is it's the loosening up. It's the scene where they met at the dance at the club that got real sexy.
That turned. I don't know what kind of club that was.
Yeah, they're just like, okay, everyone take your shirts off, take your pants off.
And meanwhile, the lights are like, it's like full lighting. It's like bright lighting like this. And they're like, oh.
Let's get naked, take our tops off. But that moment of him trying to, I have experienced, I know you've experienced this too, Pep, but the experience of men coming into our spaces to pry open our reservation and make our legs our reservation, our whatever it is, and trying to get us to loosen up, but not understanding why
we're on guard
happens. Yeah, why we're there in that place, and how that can ultimately become disrespectful based on your intentions. And a lot of times the intention is outweighed by just the moment of you wanting to like have a good time, your pleasure, whatever it is. So that to me was what, it just makes me feel so attacked when I see a woman being coerced by a man to have to let go and loosen up and have a good time. And it has to be on her account, because until she's ready to just be able to let her hair down, she's already calculating like what you're trying to do, how you're manipulating her, how you're trying to control her. And that's no fun. And like, we want to be a good time. We want to have a good time, but like, you get burned.
One of the things that I think that was interesting about this film that doesn't necessarily connect as much to real life, although so much of it did, is the uncertainty, the real uncertainty, because he kind of showed up from day one at Winston. He showed up from day one. At least from my perspective in the audience, it felt like, okay, he's telling the truth. The only time I had a moment of doubt was when she called his restaurant job to see if he was there, and he wasn't there. Like, they didn't really tell me that.
Right.
Maybe he was out buying that ring.
Like, he doesn't work
here. Yeah, like, I was waiting. I was like, wait a minute, what's going on? And so that was the moment. And then there was another weird shot where, like, I guess it was when he was thinking about doing her office for her when she left. It was at night, and he was she went somewhere, and it just went to him, and he was looking out the window. I was like, what is he going to do? Like, it looks like he's thinking about something scary. But anyway, aside from that, he showed up 100% from the start. Like, it looked like it was going to take a horror movie turn. And I was like, oh. But, you know, that's the part that's not necessarily, I think, you know, usually in these relationships, both people are still trying to figure each other out and not certain. And so, like, you know, her uncertainty about whether or not to do this would have been met with his uncertainty about, is it safe for him to get into a relationship with a woman who's much older and who lives across the country or whatever. So I do think that there could have been in a real life setting, there usually is a lot more of uncertainty. Like, he doesn't know that he wants to marry her until like right before. And in real life, I feel like he wouldn't know that he wanted to marry her until right beforehand. In this movie, I felt like, oh, he wants to marry her from the jump.
Can we talk about the real Winston?
Who's the real?
Okay, so yeah. Okay, so
wait,
is actually based
story. Based on a true story, and it's real. Terry McMillan this really happened to her, the author, and there is a scene. Right, in the scene where they first get to the island where she meets Whoopi. Yes, when they meet at the front desk and they step out, and then Whoopi's like, you know, look, girl, look, we got a man over here and a man over here, and they got, you know, they got some NBA rings or whatever. The guy that walks right by them that says, "Hello, ladies," the tall, light-skinned guy, that's the real Winston.
Oh, shoot, I didn't know that. Did you know that?
I had read that. That like this was based on a true story. Like, this is actually like the author had actually married a younger man, but the real tea is that he was marrying her for the green card, and he ended up being a flaming homosexual.
Yes. Those are the other stories. So Gay Winston is in the movie.
Gay Winston, yeah, he has like a cameo, like where he walks by and he's like, "Welcome to Jamaica, ladies," and they're like, "Ooh, I can get into this," and then that's when they like.
I'm now trying to find it. Mitch tried to.
Yeah, it's a real thing.
Yeah, I mean, I guess in a way, like when you know the backstory of the real life thing, it's like, okay, yeah, this guy was definitely just trying to get married so he could, get his citizenship, and that is something they didn't touch on in the movie. But what you were saying before, Pep, I feel like a younger person is a lot more adaptable to changing things because they are not set in their ways like a 40-year-old person would be. So his transition to the relationship is not as big of a transition for him. It's not as big for him because he's younger, and I feel like younger people are able to adapt a lot quicker and faster. So watching the story from the two characters, yeah, I realized that like we're watching Stella's character, doubting herself about the younger relationship, of the long distance thing, about, introducing him to her children and the whole family situation and that dynamic, and what she feels like it is to meet his parents and for him to meet her family. But for him, I feel like, yeah, this is just, he's a 20-year-old. Like this is just another.
The other thing is like it's just a walk in the park for him, and he's like, this wonderful woman I'm experiencing. Like, what is the dynamic of the love loss for him, and like the life experience of like how many women has he approached that have come to the island that he's had flings with that have broken his heart, versus like her experiences with men and dating and a marriage and all that stuff, and putting her trust into that. I agree with you too, Manila. Yeah.
Yeah, it really is interesting. I thought I was just going to be watching this for, just to kind of see another great Black film that that I had missed in the 90s, but it is very clear that this movie does have relevance today, especially considering there are so many mixed age relationships happening where there is someone who's much older, especially in the age of people who are millennials, in the age of COVID, where there's a lot more people out of work. Those power dynamics really can shift the relationship, and so it is an interesting lesson for all of us. At the end, no spoiler alert, everyone they break up, but then they get back together because she goes to the airport when he's about to fly back to Jamaica, and she takes her man back. She says yes, she accepts his wedding proposal or marriage proposal. And so I think it's a beautiful story. It's probably even in a better book. In full disclosure, I never read the book, but it makes me want to, because I feel like, to the opposite of what we were saying, how there's not much detail. Obviously, this isn't like a pamphlet. It's like a real novel, or so there's more in it.
I was also getting into the lovely makeup of the 90s, the Black girl makeup, that matte Posner, Black radiance, giving you
Kevin
that,
Aucoin,
like,
just full
Kevin
matte.
Aucoin, that
yes,
and all the hair was the only toast shade of brown, like everything. The wigs and the hair, oh my God, it was just so. Looking at Regina King and it's just great.
One thing that's really important to mention, and we're going to add, we have this on our list of movies to see in the future, is that Waiting to Exhale is the sequel. The sequel was basically inspired by her breakup with Jonathan. And she says, I realize that there are a lot of women out here in America who are 40 and upward who have experienced betrayal and deception as well. And so, those of you who are sticking with us, make sure you watch Waiting to Exhale when we do it. Come back for this so you can watch these two together. Well, listen, this is an amazing film by a brilliant author. I would also, encourage folks to read Terry McMillan's books, in general. I'll pick up this one. I haven't read this one yet. And I want to say thank you to both of you ladies. It's now time to move on to a very quick segment Oh wait, beforehand we got to promote. Manila Luzon has a brand new podcast. It's called The Chop with Latrice Royale, and you can find on her Twitter and Instagram handles Manila Luzon. Make sure you check that out. Is that weekly, right, Manila?
Yeah, we do we actually do bi-weekly, so or 2 a week. Is that bi-weekly? No, bi-weekly you mean every other week. No, we do episodes on Tuesdays and on Thursdays. So check it out
twice a
on your
week.
favorite.
Okay.
Twice a week, darling. Can't get enough of us.
Check it out on your wherever you get your podcasts. And Mila Jam has a brand new T-shirt out. You can go to thefluidproject.com. Here's a picture of the T-shirt. Proceeds benefit the Sylvia Rivera Law Project, and it is it's inspired by Mila's viral photo. That photo that went viral this summer. In the wake of the horrible number of murdered Black trans women, not only this year, but every year leading up to. And Mila had a brilliant performance on the exchange rate where she painted her whole body in the words, well, probably somebody painted it for her, the words, "Stop killing us." And so this T-shirt, kind of commemorates that moment in time and this beautiful statement. You can go to Mila Jam's Instagram and social media. And you will also find out about her brand new TED Talk. This woman has a TED Talk. You can check it out. She just recorded it. It's just released. So make sure you search on her Instagram and her Twitter and her social media feeds. She'll be posting the link. We will be posting the link as well to her TED Talk. So make sure you check it out. It'll be on YouTube. So you'll be able to watch it on YouTube. And it's all about Black trans female empowerment. You can also subscribe to TED Talks and search when they release it. You'll see about the Black trans female empowerment. You can go to Mila Jam's social media at The Mila Jam. And just another reminder, I'm getting tongue twisted. Just another reminder, before the show we talked about me as a Rue girl before even RuPaul's Drag Race existed. How Mila wished that, what Manila wished wasn't edited into RuPaul's Drag Race. Mila's biggest pet peeve and her message to Georgians for the upcoming runoff election, and Manila clapping back in the comments. If you want to watch all of that stuff that we did in our pre-show interview, please head over to my Patreon, where you can get all the behind-the-scenes videos and full episodes of Pepp Talks. Now it's time for our skin. I'm kind of rushing because we're almost over time. It's time to move on to our favorite products of the week. This week, my favorite product is Lip Bar's Eye Palette. The colors are brown sugar, toast, spice, and cinnamon. Lip Bar is a vegan and cruelty-free beauty brand that exists to help change the way you think about beauty. The quote from the owner is that I started Lip Bar in my kitchen while working on Wall Street because I was tired of the beauty industry's lack of diversity and inclusion, and excessive amounts of unnecessary chemicals. And so this is the product. Comes with a little brush, which I'll try for 1 second, but I mean, come on, let's be real. And I could try to open. Okay, so it has the mirror in it. I appreciate that there's a mirror in it, but it is difficult to get that mirror to come down sometimes. And so I haven't put on, I can't do anything with this brush. I'm not even, what am I doing with
the
this?
tiny little brush for the girl on the go.
Hold it. You can, if you hold it, you can't even get it onto the things. And so I'm going to do.
Your nails are so long, girl.
That's true. My nails are longer than the brush. And so I'm going to go ahead and give this a shot. I intentionally didn't put on any eyeshadow because I knew I was going to want to do this today. And so I'm hopefully I have a good angle here. So I'm going to just make this quick.
What color is that one?
This one is the brown one that is called cinnamon. It's kind of dark it does look like cinnamon.
That's cinnamon colored.
It's cinnamon colored. And so that's the darker one called cinnamon there.
Yeah.
Okay. And then I'm going to do the gold. Actually, I'm going to do 3 colors here real quick. Sorry. We're going to.
Hey, I love a makeover. Yes, honey.
Do a little transition color here. Yeah.
That's a transition color.
And then we're going to use the gold right on the lid.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, pop it, highlight it.
Oh, that's pretty.
Yeah, it's pretty.
Shimmer and
A
shout.
little bit, yeah.
See, I love it. 'Cause
Ooh.
it's a nice subtle.
Yeah, this is very natural.
You
This
should
is.
just do
But
one
no,
eye
it
from
looks
now
great.
on.
Like there's a huge difference in your eye, girl.
Oh
Just
yeah,
do one
you can.
eye from now on.
Look at your eye.
Just do one eye.
I'll
Just
do
the one
someone real
eye.
quick so I can like even it out real quick. It's nice that it has a nice. I think it's not the most highly pigmented, but I'm not mad at it.
It's got a
It's
subtle
very
moment to it.
daytime. Look, this isn't quite nighttime.
This is dayfish.
Yeah, for
Yeah,
me,
this is like
but it is
this is like
pretty.
this is like sunset to twilight. Yes.
Exactly. Yeah.
In between day and night. I like that. No,
It's
because
very.
a lot of the eyeshadows now are becoming so pigmented that like you
Oh,
put your brush in it and you are blowing it off because it's just leaving way too much in it these days. So that's nice. That's beautiful.
Yeah, let me just put a little bit more of this in here. Okay, very good. Very, very pretty. I like it. I'm going to swatch. I will use the brush to swatch some for my hand so you can see like what the colors look like on there real quick. Okay. Okay, so here is what some of the colors look like. This. It's tough. It's so tough to see. You can barely. That is gold. It's like the same color as my skin though, so you can't see that. There it is.
Well,
Yeah,
that's
it's like
right.
a little shine on it. But that's actually really good for your skin tone because you want
It
it to
matches
like
so well.
look like it clear and then just catch the light every once in a while. I love that.
What I do love about it is it's so tiny. I mean, it's like it's a nice little tiny thing. It will fit in your purse and fit in your makeup bag. Really, it's going to move very well into my makeup bag. So I'll keep wearing this during the day and let everybody know how long it lasts and everything like that. But this is just a little sample, something I wanted to try. Wanted to try to support Lip Bar. I believe it is also Black owned and operated, which is also a nice little bonus. And so that is our product of the week. And thank you so much, Manila and Mila, for coming and sitting and talking about how Stella got her groove back with me and being a guest on the show. Y'all are both fabulous.
The
I love
sequel, how Mila got her groove back.
and the third installment, like how Manila got her groove in the first place. Oh, the prequel.
Where did Manila get that groove?
So I'm gonna do my spin wheel right now to find out which movie we're gonna watch next week. Okay. And it is Above the Rim. Above the Rim. I'm excited about this because only again because of the soundtrack. The SWV has a song on there called Anything, which is it's the remix that came out just for this movie, and it is amazing. And I saw Above the Rim when I was a kid. Anyway, next week's guest is a special guest, and we are talking about the movie Above the Rim. So if you want to be up to speed, make sure you watch the movie like today or tomorrow so that you're ready to talk about it in the comments next week. And just watch it anytime before the show, basically. Thank you all so much for joining. I am Peppermint, and I am out.
Bye.
Bye, love.